Hi everyone, so last time we talked about the three different types of passive transport through the cell membrane. Now we're going to start talking about the types of active transport that can happen. So when materials move from an area of low concentration to high concentration, that is going to be where active transport comes into place. So remember that passive transport was from high to low. Now we're talking about from low to high. Since we're moving across that concentration gradient, we are going to need energy. And that energy, again, is going to be in that form of ATP. And a really great example of and part of active transport is going to be the sodium-potassium pump. So in this pump, in animal cells, they have a lower concentration of sodium, but a higher concentration of potassium. So what happens is when we see that membrane, we're going to have low concentration of sodium. So this is the outside, and this is our potassium. So we're going to pump ions across the concentration gradient. So our potassium is going to be pushed that way, and our sodium is going to be pushed this way. And again, we're going to need ATP in order for that to happen. So our first type of active transport could be protein pumps across the membrane. So again, if we take a look at this, we start with a low concentration of whatever molecule, and we're going to pump it towards the higher concentration using this energy to activate that protein pump. So let's talk about some more types of active transport. The first one is called endocytosis. So endocytosis is going to happen bringing stuff into the cell. So the process of taking materials into the cell by vesicles. So vesicles are, again, remember those little membrane bubbles that are inside the cell. So those vesicles are going to take in that material. So large molecules or entire cells can be taken in by endocytosis. So there's a couple of different types of endocytosis. The first one is called phagocytosis, and that's going to be taking in solids. Our next type is called pinocytosis, and that's going to be taking in liquids. And the last one is called receptor-mediated endocytosis. So when this happens, we're going to see particles binding to the cell membrane, which is going to trigger it to pull that material into the cell membrane. So let's take a look at these different types. So we can see phagocytosis taking in a large food particle. Again, take a look at what the membrane itself is doing. It's pulling this in and creating this little vesicle from the cell membrane. Same thing with pinocytosis, but again, we're looking at fluids in here. And then receptor-mediated endocytosis, we can see that these little green pieces right here are our receptors, and it looks like our stars are going to be the material that will connect to those receptors to be pulled into the cell here. So again, that's with three different types of endocytosis. Our next type is exocytosis. It sounds like exit, so in this case, we're going to be leaving the cell. So removal of large amounts of material from our cell here. So during exocytosis, the membrane of our vacuole or our vesicle fuses with our cell membrane and pushes that material outwards. So again, if we take a look at what this is going to look like, we have material that's going to be used for secretion. We're going to move over, and we can see that the phospholipid bilayer connects to the cell membrane, and then it will push the material up and out into the outside of the cell there. So one more thing that I want to talk about, some things that can be excreted during exocytosis. Could be waste or important materials that other cells might need. Oops. Okay, so again, add all those things to your notes. Those are going to be the 3 types of active transport. So again, that's going to be, oops, 3 types of active transport: protein pumps, endocytosis, and exocytosis. If you have any questions, please let me know.